Band, winners of the International Blues Challenge several years back. That is Trampled Underfoot. Title track from their a CD called Wrong Side of the Blues. That was released back in a date so small on the back of the CD I can't read it. Okay. Anyway, they will be appearing here in town on Friday, February the 22nd at Dan Electro's Guitar Bar. Of course, that's located at 1031 East 24th Street. Mark there on your calendar. Hot ticket, 5-star show. You can tell them the Blueshound told you about that. Good afternoon, folks. It is now 48 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock. Of course, you're listening to 90.1 FM KPFT right here in beautiful Houston, Texas. And it's a real pleasure to introduce a gentleman who has come to the studio this afternoon to share some wonderful information other than the bad news we've been sharing with you today. Mr. CLINT BROUSSARD is here in the house, and we're really happy to have him. CLINT was a former programmer over at KTRU for over 13 years, hosted a show called Blues and Hi-Fi that aired every Wednesday nights. And, of course, KTRU went by the wayside, but you live on, man. You're keeping the blues alive, man. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for coming down here this afternoon. We know we talked about KTRU going under because of the...
They just sold the frequency, I think. They still exist. Actually, they're, I guess, in some form, they're the secondary HD channel here at KPFT now. So the studios still exist, but the frequency got sold and changed over formats to, I believe, U of H. It's been a while now. But,
yes, sir. That's
but it's still, I'm sure the spirit's still there in the studio. But
even though you were airing an HD KPFT, you probably weren't reaching as many listeners as you'd like to.
It was a struggle. It was tough.
I mean, the good news is now that there's been an opening here on KPFT, one of the programs that was here on Monday evening, Uprising, they ceased production, and that opened up a time slot for you, and Blues and Hi-Fi is being resurrected, and it's good to have you as part of the KPFT family as programmers.
I couldn't be more excited about it. I actually got the phone call the day after Christmas, so it was sort of a late Christmas gift, I guess. But I had heard from everybody in and out over the, it'd been about a year and a half since I'd been on. And I'd talk to people from the station here, and they would say, well, we've got little openings here and there, but we're trying to find a slot. And it's, a lot of the guys that are here, you guys have been doing this for a long time. So plus with the national syndication and whatnot, it's tough to kind of find time slots. So I was just fortunate enough that something came up. So I'm over the moon about it. So I'm really excited.
Once again, we're very pleased to have you as part of our lineup here on KPFT. Now, this is going to be airing on Monday nights?
Monday nights, 6 o'clock p.m. It's 1 hour for the time being, and I probably will say I probably get more out of an hour than almost anybody because I play so much old music. It's a very vintage throwback to old AM radio, I guess, the style. So I play a lot of songs that run about 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So I probably get more bang for my buck than anybody else on.
Plus, all the songs back then were all right at 2 minutes long, and the songs like I just finished playing is like 6 minutes long, almost in those cases. So,
and those are great too. But it's. I remember I saw Fats Domino one time, and he must have done 100 hit records in an hour. I was like, good Lord, how do you have that many songs? But
now let's talk a little bit about what your musical content on Blues and Hi-Fi. There's you kind of target a very, very unique type of program, blues programming. Mm-hmm. You emphasize a lot on the music of the Gulf Coast and Upper Gulf, Texas, Louisiana.
Right. Well, being Cajun, and I grew up right on our side of the Louisiana border. My dad was a big record collector, and they grew up in an era where I guess I grew up in a small town. My dad went to high school in Port Arthur and all of that. So I guess the 60s revolution wasn't really happening so much as they were really interested in all of the bands like the Boogie Kings and all these bands that were doing R&B and soul and blues. That
Blue Eyed Soul all the time, yeah.
Absolutely. And they were more interested in dancing. So they would go over to Louisiana and see Big Oaks Club. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's what I grew up to, even being as young as I am. I just heard it all, and my dad had a huge stack of singles, and my parents would dance in the kitchen, and that was always the thing. My brother and I were raised around it. And plus, in that area, you had Janis Joplin and Jerry LaCroix and Gene Thomas, all those guys that were from around Houston all the way to New Orleans and San Antonio, that kind of thing. So I grew up, and we used to listen.
Gene Bourgeois.
He's great, too. He's from Port Arthur as well.
He's been on the show before. Yeah.
Oh, great man. Guy. He's fantastic. But all those guys, it just seemed like I grew up around it, and the older I got, I noticed it wasn't being heard anywhere in town, and I just, that was a lot of my record collection, and at the same time things like Guitar Slim and the blues guys that really influenced all that stuff. So I was in a fortunate situation to have that music and share it with an audience that wanted to hear it, and I was fortunate that it took off. But at the same time, I just don't hear it anywhere else. So it's sort of, and it, on top of that, I grew up hearing the Huey Moe shows that he hosted here at KPFT, and Wolfman Jack and John Art in Nashville, and all those guys. I don't know how it just kind of happened. I guess it was probably my family more than anything that I grew up around here.
I would just love to dig through your record collection. I know you, because you have some wonderful nuggets that the listeners here at KPFT are going to be really thrilled to hear being resurrected. Otherwise lost the sands of time, but you're back on the air once again on Monday evening, 6 o'clock here on KPFT. So it's a great to have you. Let me ask you, how are you doing health-wise? I know you had a pretty nasty little car accident back. Was it 2011?
Yep. Yes, sir.
And had a couple of benefits around town for you and everything. And
yeah.
You all healed from that?
I'm
no
great.
Problems?
No problems at all. I had a plate and some screws put into my knee. But
arthritis will be showing up any day now.
Well, I've noticed the weather every time it changes. But, it doesn't, but it's,
welcome to my world.
Right. But it's no pain, nothing like that. I'm totally back 100%. So unfortunately, I'm able to work again. But everything, otherwise has been fine. It's strange coming back and having all these things, kind of pop up again. It's good to be back and doing radio in Houston anyway.
Tell me about this Spotlight 45 feature that you used to have on the show. Are you still going to be?
Absolutely. I did. My first one this past week was Blue Monday, which I thought would be kind of funny. I just do it because I'm a big 45 nut. I mean, I love blues all the way around, and I had this conversation with a couple of friends recently where they were saying, because I'd mentioned blues to me was more about the song and maybe a track instead of necessarily an album, because albums seem to be so more about a concept sometimes.
It can be gumbo of styles, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the era that I seem to focus on, I guess, is mostly singles. So, and I have such a vast collection of original 45s, and I guess it's sort of a prayer that there are a lot of record dorks like me that want to hear the catalog number and the year something was recorded and who produced it and that kind of thing. So I'm a
dork.
Yeah, I am. So I just think it's an homage to vinyl, essentially, because I love the sound of a record on the radio. It just sounds really warm, and so I thought it was something that would add character to what I did.
Now, how many 45s do you think you'd have in your collection? Have you ever sat down and, I know they're cataloged, everything's alphabetized. And...
I would probably have to ask the friends that helped me move about 4 months ago that still aren't speaking to me. Probably, I probably have 2,000 or 3,000, I guess.
Really?
That's pretty crazy.
And LPs? You have more LPs than 45s? Or
I don't know. It's probably
pretty mixed bag.
Probably, yeah.
Now, I know you have this sick obsession, like I do, that if there's ever a flea market or a record store or a garage sale, you will, if it takes you 2 hours to go through every record in there. Now I know, because I have this addiction too. You do that, don't you?
I definitely do, and it's even as bad as that. I'll do it with CDs, because CDs are starting to go by the wayside because of downloading.
Right, everything's in the clouds now.
Yeah, so it's like I'll do it with CDs too, because it doesn't. I mean, I love the vinyl format, but I like the idea of having something, and there's so much you can't find on vinyl, and there's a lot of things you can't find on CD. So the thing is, I just want the music.
There was something tangible where you could actually take an album and hold it in your hand and look at the liner notes and read it 1,000 times. Even though you'd read it, you'd still, every time the record was on, you'd find yourself inevitably with that album in your hand.
It's true.
Reading the back of that jacket.
And everybody downed CDs for that because the album artwork wasn't as big or whatever. And then now it's sort of like you don't even have album artwork because you're clicking a mouse and downloading something. So I don't know. I guess the emphasis on album artwork and all that it's not what it used to be anyway.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you here, part of the KPFT family, and the new show once again is called Blues and Hi-Fi, Monday evening 6 to 7 here, right on 90.1 FM KPFT. We're really happy to your unique style of educating and entertaining at the same time, because we know you're passionate about the story behind the songs.
Sure.
You talked about Huey Moe and Gold Star and Gold Band records and Excello, all these old records that you do. You try to give a little snippet of information when you play these songs.
I do. I guess it's because I used to laugh because I have such a big record collection, and I guess doing radio gives me I guess it validates it in a way. Otherwise, it's just me and the neighbors. So it's kind of nice to be able to share it with somebody. It's like, it's great to have it, but it's so nice to have an outlet to say, hey, this is what I'm interested in. And it's so funny, over the year and a half, 2 years I haven't been on, that I've accumulated so much other, music that I didn't play for the 13-year duration I was there. So that's exciting to come back and go, oh, wow, I haven't played these records before, so it should be fun.
We urge everybody to tune in Monday evening, 6 to 7, for Blues and Hi-Fi with your host, Mr. Clint Broussard. Now, Clint, there's a couple things that we need to mention also that our listeners might want to take part in.
Sure. I've got, there are 2 events that popped up. One of them is actually next Monday, a week from tomorrow, will be the 3rd show. So I'm calling it my 3rd show after party. I've done a few things. I'd mentioned to some friends and in the Houston press that there were a lot of businesses in town, bars and whatnot, that are keeping local DJs, even if they don't have a radio show, sort of valid and in the loop. Places like Leon's Lounge, they do a Friday night DJ session. Poison Girl's really good about it. One of the guys over there, Scott, that owns the bar, worked with me at KTRU for probably the whole time I was there. They feature a DJ on Monday nights, and a lot of times it's like guys like Mike Smith or someone who may just be a music writer in town. So it's pretty neat. I kind of got into that fold, and I just applaud them for having DJs do that. So anyway, long story short, I'll be there on a week from tomorrow at 10 p.m. at Poison Girl.
Where's that located?
It's at 1641 Westheimer. And
right down the street here.
It is right down the street, absolutely. And they do something every Monday, so it's just going to be fun. I'll definitely re-mention it on the day of the show, because I'll probably pack up records and then go straight down.
The 3rd show after party. I think this is just an excuse to go get drunk.
It is exactly what it is. Absolutely. I didn't want to be transparent, but I will.
But some of our listeners can come out and actually meet you and talk about the music and everything, and maybe make requests if you want to. Now, there's also something else coming on in there.
Yep,
Cactus Records, which you work part-time over there?
I do work part-time over there. Those guys have been completely just supportive since day one. I've known Quinn for a long time, and the whole
nice guy.
The whole staff is just great, and they, again, that was another place I would spend. They do a lot of supporting DJs and whatnot, and I know, and I had been doing this Poison Girl thing. That's a night thing, so it's kind of tough for regular listeners of the show to get out late on a Monday night. So there'll be a thing at Cactus that Quinn's helped put together. It's sort of a celebration of the show and kind of a comeback thing. It's going to be Saturday, February 2nd, which will be Groundhog Day, and it starts at noon, runs till about 3 or 3:30. They have a little side, if you're not familiar with the store, they have a little side room that's all what they call the Record Ranch. So it's all vinyl, and that's definitely where I'll be. Spinning 45s and records and whatnot, and just kind of...
St. Arnold's going to be there?
They will be there. They're there every time. And
there's always booze when you're around for some reason.
There is... you're seeing a pattern with me. So, but that will be great. It'll be...
and then the intervention will be next week for you.
I don't know. I hope not. They may do it on a Monday at 6. I don't even know at this point.
Clint Broussard, one of our newest additions to KPFT Radio, Blues and Hi-Fi, Wednesday evenings. Excuse me, a Monday evening from 6 to 7 o'clock right here on 90.1 FM KPFT. Tell our listeners to tune in and do the thing, man.
Yeah, please do. It's so overwhelming already, but in such a positive way. The first week was... learning the board, and everybody at the station here has just been... Everybody was supportive before I even came over here, but everybody's been really great. The phones have been lighting up. I'm on Twitter now, so if you want to follow on Twitter, it's you can search at Blues and Hi-Fi. It's on there. We're on Facebook, and same, Blues and Hi-Fi, and it's just really...
And you're going to teach me how to tweet.
I will teach you how to tweet. I promise you before I leave. Right. So if they hear dead air for like an hour, that's what's going on.
Clint, thank you so much for taking time
to
come by this afternoon. I'd also like to thank Melissa Noble for coming and taping this whole thing. So I guess with that, that's a wrap.